I'm here with Josh from Finalsite, here having another conversation at the Minspra Spring Conference. Josh, thanks so much for sitting down and chatting for a few minutes.
Thank you, Andrew. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about what you do for Finalsite and then like what Finalsite does for school districts.
Yeah, so I work with districts across the country, but a lot here in Minnesota. I think there's over 130 districts that we serve, or client districts that we serve here in Minnesota. Over 600,000 students that we support. And so Minnesota is a strong partner of ours, providing communications tools. So that could be website, two-way mobile app communication, mass communication, enrollment tools, kind of the gambit when it comes to building engagement and connecting with communities. But a little bit of background about me: I've been with Finalsite for over 4 years now. But prior to that, I was a communicator in Oklahoma, where I'm from, for 7 years. And so I really gained a lot of trust and a network of friends across the country in the school communications lane.
Yeah.
And so when I was offered a position here at Finalsite, it was kind of a natural fit because I got to be at all these SPRA events, and this is one of my favorite ones. And I love Dirk Tedman. He's a good guy.
Yes.
Good, close friend of mine. But there's so many people here that I love. So
yeah.
So thankful that you guys invited us again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about like the suite of services, because I know from my time in schools, like Finalsite, a lot of times I think we think of just websites maybe, but I know there's a lot more that goes on to what you provide. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Finalsite is in the name. That's kind of what we do. That's our bread and butter. It's, if you think of a website as more than just a website, it's really the front porch to a school district.
Yeah.
There's more people who visit your website yearly than actually walk into your physical welcome center. So, and it can be accessed anywhere, at any time, anywhere in the world. And so it's really important that you have a good first impression, but that you're also, serving your community something that allows them to engage and really find the information fast. So that's with the website piece. But we also offer a integrated mobile app that allows the folks who do want to consume information on their phone directly through an app with a more personalized experience, the ability to communicate with teachers, staff members, or coaches and students potentially, have all that information archived and saved within that mobile app experience, but also be able to feed information from the website into that app. So that's a piece that we do as well, along with mass communications. We serve 83 of the largest 100 districts in the nation, and so that's it's a big responsibility. It's not just something that we tout. It's a big responsibility. You think about, the LA wildfires. That's our second largest client in the U.S. and having kind of a tiger team around them to help them through that. But also even the smallest districts too, ensuring that those communications are reliable and that they're getting to families fast. So the mass communications piece. Then we think of it like a wheel of engagement with families. You have enrollment management, which is a solution we're seeing a lot more in independent schools, but more and more districts are adopting enrollment management tools. So if you think about, the traditional experience, maybe through like Infinite Campus or Assist Provider, it can be challenging sometimes for parents to have kind of like a smooth process through all those. If you think about your website as kind of the first touch point, or maybe it was a flyer that goes to your website to enrollment, we bring all that together under one unified solution. Also really exciting to talk about a new solution we have called Ask AI, which AI has been around for over 2 decades, but really the rage is like here and it's not going to go away, right?
And sometimes there are softwares that get the AI name added to them that aren't necessarily machine learning and AI. It's in vogue right now.
100%.
But what does Ask AI do?
Yeah, and it's more usable for people now, the common people like you and me. Like we can use it. I use ChatGPT every day, right? Google Gemini every day.
Yeah.
But Ask AI is essentially a chatbot, but it's not your ordinary chatbot in kind of like your 2005 airlines chatbot where you ask it a question and you don't get the answer. It really is powered. It's powered based on the model of Google Gemini, but it's using only the knowledge base of the school system. And it's also how we've set the software up. It's built for K-12, research driven. Duluth is actually the first district in America to
Wow.
sign on with Ask AI, and so they're in beta right now. And so it's really exciting, but kind of some of the key differentiators is that parents can ask it questions. They can misspell phrases or even, code switch languages, use language code switching where you're like, some folks, will ask a question in English and Spanish.
Sure, yeah.
In one, and it knows, because Google Gemini knows, it can push that information back in the majority language that they asked.
So it's really meeting people where they're at then.
It's meeting people where they're at. It's not hallucinating information. So there's controls that we put in there based off what school districts have needed and around privacy and a lot of concern with students chatting with the chatbot and trying to feed it or that's all been taken care of. But it's really exciting because it's Ask AI powered by Finalsite Intelligence. So if you think as marketers and communicators, powered by Finalsite Intelligence means there's more coming, and I can't reveal what that stuff is right now.
We're not going to get the scoop
because
here.
We're not getting the product roadmap thing from Finalsite today, but there is more coming under that umbrella. And so just imagine a world where you have your mobile app, you have your website, you have a deep link directly to Ask AI, or even maybe a text message possibly one day where you're asking through all those modalities and it's feeding from the website for one source of truth. And so, yes, there is going to be an umbrella of AI within Finalsite. It's really exciting. So if you have the full suite, good for you, keep it. It's really exciting. If you don't yet, explore it, offer it. I know you're going to do what's best for your district, but I really encourage you to look at our solutions as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Some of what you're talking about with Ask AI, we mentioned meeting people where they're at. It makes me think about just being an accessible website for communities, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot federally where certain regulations are coming into play soon.
Yeah.
I do some work with government. There's some things we're doing with websites to get that up to speed. Yeah. Schools a lot of times I think are maybe on more of the forefront of a lot of that. Any public entity needs to be. Can you just talk a little bit about where is accessibility right now? Where is it headed? And how is Finalsite kind of meeting those demands?
Yeah, so yes, all the things under the roof of accessibility.
Yeah.
So, not to tout again, it's a big responsibility, but we provide more K-12 websites and digital tools than any other K-12 provider globally. And so we're not only meeting the regulations here within the U.S., but also internationally, where some of the standards are even more stringent. But in terms of what's happening here in the U.S., WCAG, I always get that term, the WCAG 2.1 AA. Finalsite has been ready for that long before it kind of became a thing within schools. And so the largest districts will have to be compliant first. So that's in... correct me if you may know that 2026.
Sounds about right.
And then the smaller to medium size will be 2027.
Okay.
Finalsite users should not have any problems right now. All the tools you need are built within the system. But if you do a scan, or if there's a concern, just come to us. We have a team that can help you and get you back up to where you need to be. Because a lot of it is happening in manual areas where maybe there's a lot of users within the district who don't know about headers, or we also have tools that are kind of foolproof. We'll fix it as they arise. And so we're happy to help with that. But it's not just compliance. It's not just an insurance policy. It's what's best for families. And really that's the spirit of everything. It's the right thing to do.
Awesome.
So,
yeah. I can tell that you're really excited about the AI aspect. I'm curious, other things that are exciting you about 2025. And also, you mentioned Duluth being one of the first, or the first district in the country to take this on. What is it about maybe Minnesota schools? You're here at Minspra. What is it about Minnesota, the culture, the schools here that excites you about the next year?
Oh, wow. Well, there is a lot of excitement. I mean, this SPRA in particular, you go around the country, this one's super energized around parent engagement. The most important thing in school communications is building trust with your community, because if you don't have that, you don't get to pass referendums or bonds.
Yep.
That's, it's exciting to see school communicators such an energized, trying to do the good work. I was in a session earlier But, there's also a lot of concerns right now within the market around budget deficits. And so as a representative of Finalsite, but also someone who supports public education, that's top of mind, and we got to be mindful of that. When we're bringing out solutions, we got to be mindful of cost. And there's business sustainability is important too, but it's we have to really balance that.
Sure.
So there are a lot of exciting things, especially around our product, but I think it's the energy that we see even at the national level of school communications, like seeing more districts leaning into like going head on with competing school systems. That's really great to see, because it used to just be, we're just going to sit over here and wait. But now we're seeing school districts become more aggressive, and that's exciting to see. But just building the trust factor is really good. And then how can we deliver products to support those outcomes? That's the big thing. So ultimately, when I chose to come to, so some people will call it the dark side of corporate. I grew up in Oklahoma, so you can go to the oil industry, you can go work for any corporate entity. I chose to do public education for, over 10 years. I was a product of public education. And then I had an opportunity to go to Finalsite. And I really had to, I was a client, but I really had to explore the culture. Like, what was that going to mean for me? Am I going to lose my value set? And at the end of the day, I haven't, and I was concerned about that at first. I haven't, and it's because we're in our product meetings when there's over 100 people, women and men in a room. They're thinking about who's using that tool at home, and what impact does that have on them? And then from there it goes, who's using it at the school level, the district level, and as long as we stay focused on that, I know that I still have impact within the K-12 space, and that brings me joy, So that in a nutshell is what excites me every day. It's why I get up and why I come here. I flew in this morning and on a plane from Orlando packed with dozens of yappity kids. So.
Well, we're glad you're here, and it's good to hear that, because there's always an external culture and an internal culture within the organization, whether it's a school or a company, and it's great to hear that there's consistency in what those cultures are.
As with any organization, there's always bumps in the road, and I know like the last 2 years of Finalsite, there's been everyone knows about the acquisition of Blackboard, and that was a big thing in the K-12 space. And there were some challenges there, and I'll be the first to acknowledge those challenges. But I think as long as you stay true to that, you act with integrity, you admit where you can improve, and then you actually improve, and we have over the past year or two. It's exciting to see that growth, and then also it's exciting to see the strategic work especially that our product team is doing now. I kind of painted the picture earlier about imagine a world where all this works together with AI. So when you think of, in product, when you're building solutions, you don't build it as you're flying.
Right.
Because you serve 83 of the top 100 districts, right? You serve 120 Minnesota districts. You can't break your tool as you're flying.
Right.
So you really have to think strategically for the next 5 to 10 years. I believe at Finalsite, and this is not me I believe we're not following a playbook, we're writing it in K-12. And I've seen that work happening on the product side as well.
Awesome.
So, super exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, thanks for taking a few minutes to chat
Thank
with
you.
me.
Thanks for putting me in, Coach. Hope I hit a home run for everyone.
Home run, touchdown, the whole deal.
All right. Go sports ball.
Go sports ball.